How you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Today we're taking a look at Kazar the Savage, or Kazar the Savage. I never knew how to pronounce it. It was 50 cents, and this was a little bit more expensive if I remember correctly. This was like a direct market comic, 1981. Okay, look at this cover. This is by Brent Anderson. Collector's item. This is Kazar. This is Zabu, the saber-toothed tiger, and this is Shanna, the she-devil. Kazar, if I remember correctly, he was introduced in the X-Men. Remember, the X-Men today are always like, oh, we're being persecuted. Oh, nobody likes us. Blah, blah, blah. But for the most of X-Men's history, they were adventure comics. They were just like the Fantastic Four or the Avengers. And, they would travel around. And one of their travels, they went to the Savage Land and they met Kazar. Great, whatever. And Shanna, the she-devil, she was introduced, if I remember correctly, when Stan Lee wanted he wanted to appeal to female audiences, so they made Night Nurse, Shanna the She-Devil, and the Claws of the Cat, and all of them kind of stunk, except for the Shanna one. The Shanna the She-Devil was actually pretty good, but none of them lasted too long. The Night Nurse kind of became like a goofy joke, and it's one of my better videos. But now, it was only natural for Shanna and the Kazar to meet up. So this is their Tarzan ripoff. And he lives in the Savage Land. And let's take a look at the comic. Okay, we have the Johnson Smith joke shop. I love all you don't see stuff like this anymore. This is definitely old-timer stuff. I get a kick out of seeing it. And I always look at it. So here we have Kazar the Savage. A new dawn, a new world. And let's just look at the indicia, even though... Volume 1, number 1, April 1981. Okay, so this is Kazar. He's living in the Savage Land. And the Savage Land has been retconned so many times. Oh, and it's just come to my realization that I say the word retcon a lot. And what it is retroactive continuity. It's like they change the backstory on things. So it's retroactively true. And it's shortened to retcon. They do it a lot with movies and long serialized formats like Doctor Who or something like that. But the Savage Land, if I could remember correctly, it was created by the Cree. The Cree being the blue aliens that you see in the Avengers movies, and the Cree are like supposedly one of the most highly advanced civilizations in the universe, and they in that M31 galaxy, and they came to the Earth and they conducted experiments. One of the experiments was the Inhumans, one of the experiments was the Savage Lands, and then one of the experiments was the blue area of the moon. Now, all of the stuff wasn't created by at the time, but it retroactively retconned into experiments of the Cree, and it was just a neat way to explain it all, and it works if you ask me. And they made this like place, and supposedly they put like every species of animals, and they would have like collectors go out and get every species. So it's not just dinosaurs; it's like dodo birds, and everything that ever existed still exists in the Savage Land. What a great concept! And the Savage Land is way down in Antarctica, and sometimes depending upon what era of Marvel, it's like in the Hollow Earth. Sometimes it's just hidden in Antarctica. Sometimes like you have to pass through barriers. I don't know. They keep changing it, but that it's basically it. So here he is. He's Kazar's talking about. His name was Kevin Plunder, I think is his real name, and his brother is the Plunderer, and they basically went to the Savage Land to like rob it, and he parachuted in and became its protector. So he's like Tarzan for the Savage Land. What a great. So, and if I remember, Shanna the She-Devil, I think she was in like South America originally, and then they retconned her to be in the Savage Land, which is more exciting for comic books anyway. So it kind of works. So here they are. They're like, he's having like a midlife crisis, and he's wondering, should he go back to civilization? He's just like I read the Tarzan novels. I read the first two at least, and they were excellent. Not at all what I expected. And Tarzan was very wealthy back home, and just like Tarzan, he's very wealthy back home. So here he is, fighting the animals, the dinosaurs or whatever. And she's just like, why would you want to go back to civilization? And this is one of the things I say a lot in a lot of videos, especially if you check out my Secret Avengers showcase that I did. They're having a very heady conversation. They're talking about philosophy, life, where am I going? But what are they doing as they're having this conversation? They're chasing each other around. They're grabbing, they're lassoing dinosaurs, So you could have, but, this whole modern marvel of just sitting in a coffee shop, drinking coffee while talking about that Stanley is rolling over in his grave, just thinking about stuff like that, I remember, like, I gave this example a few times, like Black Widow and Daredevil were talking about their relationship, but what are they doing? They're flipping over buildings, jumping around, fighting muggers, as they're having a very serious talk. So you could talk about anything, but it's all in the setting. It's all in how you present it. So there you go. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. So that's what they're doing. He's thinking, should I go back? And she's like, why would you want to go back? And now they're like, getting mushy with each other, and he's talking about his life. There's his father, his evil brother, and as they're in the Savage Land, he got saved by Zabu, and Zabu became his buddy. Wouldn't you? That's just such like a cool kid thing. Wouldn't you want to have a saber-toothed tiger as your buddy? So he's been in the Savage Land ever since he was a kid. He came back with the X-Men a few times, and now they're hunting. They got to eat. My wife always gets upset when we watch nature documentaries and you see like an animal, like one of those fanged Antarctic walrus type things eating a penguin. I'm like, nature is a rough place. And that they hit this little miniature dinosaur and they're eating it, and then he's saying goodbye. He's leaving her for a while. He wants to go explore. He wants to be by himself. And also Zabu is missing. So I don't know why she can't go with him, but he wants to be alone, but that's the plot. So notice there was no credits yet. We'll talk about the credits when I actually see the credits. So he's going on, hiding from dinosaurs, walking through water, and he's going some places that he's never been before. And, waterfalls in writing always symbolize like mystery and a new location. What was that? The El Dorado Disney type movie. I don't know if it's Disney. And here he finds another place separated by like a big wall. So this is another area by the Savage Land. And I don't know if this is still part of Marvel continuity or not, but this is called Pangaea. And Pangaea is like twice as big as the Savage Land, and this is just like it reminds me of like Mongo, if you remember Flash Gordon, the planet where like there was bird people and chicken people and cat people and everything like that. So that's Pangaea. So it's definitely a throwback to like 40s serials, and definitely a throwback to like Tarzan and Pelukar and stories like that. So this is definitely like a shout outs to old Golden Age comics, which is good. I like Golden Age. A lot of the Silver Age to me was too silly, but the Golden Age I really liked. But I have to admit, I know more about the Silver Age than I do the Golden Age, even though I like the Golden Age more. The Golden Age is a very fairly obvious blind spot in my comic book knowledge. So here, some fighting going on, a little war. They're gonna grab this hot girl, and caveman can't grab a hot girl. Now Kay's all around, so he's jumping around and fights them all off. Notice he's doing it non-lethally, and he grabs the hot girl, and she's, what is she calling herself? You speak Thelic, and you're royal bearing. Who are you? Never mind that. My cat. They're stealing my cat. So she's just like, listen, they didn't want me. I was just a distraction. They want my cat. So he's like, oh, I'm looking for my cat too. So here they are. She has a saber-toothed tiger creature also. So there you go. They fell for the distraction. Comic books, Mile High Comics, comic books. So she's crying. He's like, listen, I messed up. Let's go get your cat. So now they're going to go raid, and he's telling her about her beautiful city. And she calls herself the Queen of Lemuria. And now Marvel has used the name Lemuria more than a few times in their stories. So there's Lemuria, that's like an ancient Atlantean rival city. There's Lemuria where the Deviants and Warlord Crow rules, Jack Kirby's Eternals, and now there's Lemuria, a city in here. So who knows which one Marvel stuck with, And here's the the primitives, they're going to sacrifice the cat, but not while Kazar's around. And, you know, they're going to sacrifice the cat, so you got to get comfortable and chill. So now they're just waiting for the proper time, and they got to, and getting a little mushy over here, and she walks away, and here we go. They're gonna sacrifice the cat. You got to go do something. So what does he do? He runs in. Oh, it's Zabu. It's not his cat, so he's got to go save Zabu. And yeah, ta-da. And I'm not really talking about the art, the story. This was just a setup story, but I'll talk about more later. So he saves Zabu, and what's wrong? Nothing. I'll be home. Are you sure you're right? I'm all right. Let's go. Oh, yes, Spider-Man, you're my hero. Spider-Man in the rescue. So he saves this little kid from this goofball. And he uses Twinkies to distract them because Spider-Man is a real hero, because Twinkies are the best, and I got a box of Twinkies in my fridge right now. Matter of fact, I'm going to eat a Twinkie as soon as I'm done with this video. So he is bringing her back to her palace. The guards don't trust him. She says you can't come in because you're not of us. And, of course, she finds her female tiger. He has the male tiger. And, you know, doesn't matter what I said to you in the jungle, you're not of us, you can't come in the city, and goodbye to air as human. And that's pretty much the first comic. Now, not the strongest opening, but I thought this was a great series. Believe it or not, around issue 15, he fights Thanos. Thanos has need to find some Cree technology in the Savage Land. It's a great comic. I really liked it. I said in one of my earlier videos that a couple years ago I got really into private investigator comics. So I got like Mystery and a lot of like Ed Brubaker's true crime stuff, which is just so good. I got to break them out. I forgot about them. But even before that, about a couple of years before, I seem to get into like little cycles. I get into like little themes. I got into Jungle Comics. And I had like the first 7 or 8 issues of Kazar, and then I filled in the back issues. And then I got like a Rima from DC, and I got some Tarzan comics. And I just got into like Jungle Comics. I don't know why. And lately I've been getting into fantasy comics. So, you know, I've been getting some Conans and stuff like that. So this, I noticed that they didn't have the credits, but it was written by Bruce Jones. And I did a showcase with Bruce Jones in my early videos, Twisted Tales. And I told the story that I was working for MCI, cold calling people to get them to change their long distance service. Yeah, I know, I'm not proud of it. I was one of those people. And I called a man named Bruce Jones, and I asked him, I said, are you the Bruce Jones who wrote Twisted Tales? And he said, yes. I have no way to verify that or not, but I pestered Bruce Jones as a cold caller telemarketer. So there's my claim to fame. This is drawn by Brent Anderson. Brent Anderson, I worked for Marvel. He worked for DC. He's a very prolific artist. And he did the inks also. And if you notice, the art style kind of changed. I think he got rushed towards the end. And the editor was Louise Jones. And I thought maybe it was Bruce Jones's wife. Then I realized it's Louise Simonson. Before she was Louise Simonson, she was Louise Jones. That's her maiden name. So there you go. This was good. I recommend this. It was a fun series. I do not know if it's been collected or anything, but you could get these back issues pretty cheap. And it's totally worth it. It's a fun series. So thanks a lot. I appreciate that you took your time to watch me. One of my friend Paul says he would watch my videos, Paul, but they're too long, Paul. So I'm trying to do them a little fast. He was giving me some friendly criticism. I understand I ramble too much. So thanks a lot. I'll see you tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to do. If anybody would like to request a character or a comic, please do. It'll make it so much easier, and it's a lot more fun to have the engagement. So thanks a lot. See ya. Bye-bye.